GM, welcome to what's going to be another great DevNTell gang. If you didn't know, DevNTell is a 30-minute podcast for builders to showcase something they're passionate about or been building in Web3. It's going to be an awesome project we've been working on, demonstrating unit testing best practices, automation goodies, how to structure a project, how to build smart contracts, etc. Basically, if you've got a passion for something, this is your opportunity to share it with the Web3 community. And today, I am very excited. We're going to be learning all about the Consensus 2024 conference being held at the end of the month from May 29th to the 31st from Brad, who is a managing editor at CoinDesk. So he's going to be giving us a rundown of what we can expect, some of the cool events that will be hosted there, how you can get involved, whether you want to get involved with the hackathon or just come hang out at the conference for the vibes. But definitely you want to stick around if you're interested in coming out to this conference. So before we get into it, just a little read from the sponsors of the show. Today's episode of DevNTell is brought to you by Consensus 2024 by CoinDesk. Consensus is the largest and most established global hub for all things crypto, blockchain, and Web3. Get your $299 developer pass today to connect with the industry's largest concentration of blockchain builders. Learn directly from top chains and protocols, as well as join the IRL Easy A Hackathon. Use the link in the description below to grab your ticket today, and for the first 30 people to register, you can save 20% with the code DEVDAO. That's DEVDAO. Now to today's episode. Hello. Welcome, Brad. Happy to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on today and giving us the rundown of Consensus, arguably one of the largest and most popular crypto conferences of the year. Welcome.
Thank you, Narb. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
My pleasure. Happy Friday. That's right. No better than a Friday to learn about Consensus, in my opinion. But before we get into that, perhaps would you like to give a brief introduction about yourself, just in case folks aren't familiar?
Sure. My name is Brad Keoun. My title is Managing Editor of Tech and Protocols Coverage at CoinDesk, and I oversee the tech and protocols coverage. So my team, which also consists of Sam Kessler and Margot Nykirk, we're covering news about blockchain development, and we cover devs and we cover projects, and so that's we're the part of CoinDesk that handles that type of coverage. And also I'm the editor of the Protocol newsletter, which is a weekly email newsletter that you can subscribe to on CoinDesk.com. A little plug there, and that is hardcore blockchain tech stuff, and I think it's really good for what it's worth, it aims to be pretty comprehensive. And then separately, we have a podcast. It's called The Protocol, and Margot and Sam are my co-hosts, and we try to get really kind of big name dev sources. We had Casey Rodemar from Ordinals and Runes last week, and we had Sriram Kannan of Eigenlayer a couple of weeks before that, and Brendan Farmer of Polygon. And so anyway, that's what I do at CoinDesk.
Awesome. That sounds like quite the role, quite the responsibilities you got there. But yeah, that's excellent. I suppose, have you been a journalist and editor for quite a while, or is this something you pivoted into?
Yes is the answer. I have an electrical engineering degree, and then I quickly my joke to myself was that if I ever built bridges, people would die. And so I became but I always loved to write and I love to learn. And so I became a journalist, and I got a master's degree in journalism, and I started out at the Gainesville, Florida Sun, just doing general journalism stuff, police beat reporting basically. And then I worked for the Chicago Tribune. And then I moved to New York and was covered energy industry for Bloomberg News. And then I moved to cover Wall Street. And I was covering Wall Street during the financial crisis of 2008, very much on the front lines, and covering basically the collapse of all the biggest banks. And then did a big project to sort of examine Federal Reserve lending in probably 2011, 2012 timeframe. I broke the big story of JP Morgan London whale trader. That's kind of was a big story in TradFi. And then I was in Mexico as an editor of Latin American markets news, and then I moved to Austin, and I was an economics reporter for The Street, their chief global finance and economics correspondent, covering the Federal Reserve and economy during the Trump years. And then I joined CoinDesk in 2019 as a markets reporter, and then became the markets editor. And then it was early last year, 2023, that I moved to oversee the tech coverage.
Awesome. And I guess what drew you to Web3 in particular in the tech industry? Like, what drove you to cover that?
Well, I mean, covering the economy and just seeing how none of the numbers in the traditional economy made any sense, and just all sorts of things in traditional finance that made no sense, like private equity firms raising like 400 billion plus of so-called dry powder that they had just gotten money from basically pension funds and still needed to invest in and didn't even have targets to invest in. And so it's just going to be a disaster that's still waiting to play out. But and then so that's and then I had a friend here in Austin who was my crypto godfather, and then covering the market stuff for a while. And then I just kind of was feeling I love the development, the tech stuff, because it feels real and it feels like things that people are really doing. And so that is hardcore stuff that makes my brain hurt. And I love that. So yeah, I and there was an opportunity, so I came over.
Excellent. Sounds a lot like how I got into it. My brain started to hurt reading all the cool tech, and then just kept going. And yeah, it feels like it's been quite a long time. I've only been in Web3 since 2021, but it feels like 10 plus years, to be honest. I think the saying goes like every year in crypto is kind of like a dog year or something like that. But
yeah, so 2020, I'm just doing the math on that, Narb. You've been in 21 years almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, right. So already a grizzled vet. So, but yeah, that's excellent. I love to hear. I love to hear folks' origin stories, and yours is a very fascinating one from the sounds of it. But yeah, this is awesome. Your journey has brought you here at this point to give us a rundown of all the goodies that we can expect from Consensus. So I guess I'm sure there are many folks who are familiar with Consensus, but just in case there's some new crypto natives who are watching the show, maybe you can give a brief overview of what the conference is all about, why people should attend, and yeah, why do people come together here?
Well, in general, CoinDesk or Consensus is definitely one of the most well-known crypto conferences, and it's been around a long time. And it's explicitly a big tent conference, so we include everything: Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then all the other layer ones and layer twos, and but also there's a lot of investor focused topics and regulatory topics and culture topics. and really trying to capture the breadth of the industry. And
Right.
lots of parties.
Yeah.
As with every
As there are.
crypto conference.
That's right. That's right. You come for the side events, right? Yeah. So it sounds like there's quite a broad set of topics. So something that might be available for everyone of every kind of skill level. Somebody who might be just interested in learning about what this industry is about. Somebody who's interested in perhaps investing. What about developers? Do you usually see a lot of developers come in?
Yes. Well, I mean, we're trying to get more developers to come in.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've really worked hard on it from a programming standpoint to make sure that they would get their money's worth, or their time's worth. We do. I mean, as you saw in the thing, we have special rates for devs because we really do want them to be a part of this conference. And we started something. I guess it was 2 years ago. Last year, called the Protocol Village Stage. And this is the concept is we essentially turn over the stage to projects. We curate the selection of projects, who's going to get the stage, but then we let them run the show. It's not panels. I mean, we have obviously panels, a lot of other places in the conference, but for this Protocol Village stage, we actually want it to be very high level on a not high, low, deep level on a deep dives on a technical standpoint, high degree of technical. It's dev. It's basically their best dev people talking to our dev audience. That's kind of how we view Protocol Village. So. And we've really worked hard on the schedule, and we've got some of the top projects and I just kind of made a list here, Narb. We're starting off with the Electrical Capital Report. They're the ones who sort of keep track of how many devs are working on any particular project, and we look at that all the time for kind of like where which projects have kind of the most body count, mind share. But then we've got the first day, XRPL, XRP Ledger, Avalanche, Chainlink, Solana, Near, Stellar. And then we have an Ethereum half day planned where it's going to be more Ethereum focused, but we have some of the Ethereum L2s. We've got Mantle, Arbitrum, Blast, which is blasted onto the scene. Optimism, Metis, which is known partly because Vitalik Buterin's mom works there. And we've got Bitcoin, a half day focused on Bitcoin with Stacks, Ordinals, the CTO of Ordinals, Raf Jaff, and Block, Lightspark, which is David Marcus's thing, and Brink. We have a restaking panel with Sriram Kannan of Eigenlayer and Mike Siligadze of EtherFi, which is the biggest liquid restaking project. On Friday, we've got Say, Jay Jog, and we've got Cosmos with Ethan Buckman and Sunny Agarwal. And we've got Microsoft's co-founder of blockchain. And then we do have in addition to Protocol Village stage, we have separate workshops that have been planned, which is a lot of similar content to Protocol Village, but we just didn't have enough space, so we created some more space again because we want good dev content. And we've got Fireblocks, Euler, which is a DeFi project, Redstone, which is an Oracle project. We've got workshops for Hedera, Celestia, XRPL, Corium, and Base and Optimism. I'm not sure if that one's confirmed, but I just said that during a live stream podcast. But anyway.
That's right. Potential alpha.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Rootstock, which by the way I just wrote about. They just announced a really cool project this week to enhance Robert Linus's bid VM to make it sort of production grade to build L2s on Bitcoin. And then there's this on some of the sessions we've got in the main stage or elsewhere in the conference, we've got Chainlink's Sergey Nazarov, we've got Goon from Ava Labs, we've got Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple, and then we've got Munib Ali of Stacks, Brian Bishop, who actually lives here in Austin, and he was just named one of the new Bitcoin improvement proposal editors. So, and I will be interviewing Casey Rodemeyer on the main stage on Friday. So,
Oh wow.
I don't know if that's too much for you, Narb. Hopefully, but
that no, I mean it just speaks to the heavy hitters of star power that usually attend these conferences, and you certainly have the whole set of the top stars coming in, which is awesome. Usually, in terms of the content that gets presented through these panels, I'm sure a lot of people have kind of gone through like an information overload if they try to sit through all the things and get their full money's worth. However, do you have like a strategy in mind for how people can most effectively like get the most out of all these talks without having their minds explode with all the information?
Everybody's different probably, but I mean, I do like to sit through these things and just take advantage of the programming. A lot of people have, but I've also, as a journalist, I have lots of source meetings, and I'm guessing people will have lots of meetings planned to meet up with people. And there's the exhibition hall actually is super fun to walk through just because you just are bombarded with so much information. And I don't know, you can maybe get some signal from who's paying up to advertise, or who's got the bigger booths, who's spending their way in. And I like to look at some of those kinds of things just to sort of get an idea of what's going on. There's people, there's always the swag. I love the socks.
Oh yeah, the swag. Oh yeah.
What's that?
The swag. People love the swag. So your protocols out there better step up your game, swag wise.
It's a lot, but I agree with you, Narb. It can be a little overwhelming. I mean, I think just maybe the best strategy is just go through the agenda and give yourself permission to miss things.
Yeah, exactly. And these talks will get recorded, right? So people can go back and watch at their leisure. From that
I'm sure. That has been the path. That I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure. Narb.
Gotcha. So we got a star-studded lineup of speakers, and I believe there's also a hackathon running called the Easy A hackathon, which is IRL. Could you perhaps share a bit more details around that and what people can expect from that, if you have that information?
I have not been organizing that, and I also was told there's going to be an announcement about that on Monday.
Okay.
And I'm apparently not supposed to spill that tea.
Gotcha. So folks, we got to wait
it's
for Monday.
It's not a tiny amount of money, though. I forgot to mention at the beginning, I do also run a column called the Protocol Village column.
Yeah.
And it's kind of similar in concept to the Protocol Village stage, where I do curate it. There's a system where people can submit on the website, and they can put in, okay, I'm limited to 600 characters. but it's blockchain. That's where we do a lot of the blockchain project updates. It's not like chaos or some kind of bad thing that's kind of how we see news. It's like unplanned stuff, surprises, and projects putting out updates. It's not, if it's huge, it might be news, but usually it's just important stuff. And we want to get it on the record, but it's not like, CNN or the blockchain equivalent. But we put it in this column that I do called Protocol Village. Oh man, I'm blanking on how I got going down this rabbit hole. But what we were just talking about?
We're talking about potential hackathon.
Oh yeah, okay. So we get a lot of hackathon news.
Yeah.
That we prioritize putting hackathon, like, decent hackathon items in that Protocol Village column. And I could just say, like, the amount of money is not the smallest. It's not the biggest, but it's not the smallest either.
That's fair. That's fair. Where can people read that column? Is it on?
That's on CoinDesk.com. It's a tab at the top of our webpage.
Excellent.
And it's also, if you subscribe to the Protocol newsletter, I picked the top 5. Again, I'm just picking it with my subjective judgment, but the top 5 I put in the newsletter, and there's a link to the Protocol Village column there.
Excellent. Yeah, folks,
and anybody can submit, like founders. If people are listening to this call, I mean, we get a lot of PR people working for the projects who submit those on behalf of the founders. But we get a lot of founders directly who find that column and they use our submission tool, and it comes right in our back end. And so we've run a lot of really cool items from that.
Awesome. Yeah, folks, definitely check that out after the call if you're interested. And I'm sure there's great content to be found in that newsletter there. And I guess I just want to get into the as you were describing all the panel guests and different protocols that are coming in. I was very pleased to hear that there's no so-called tribalism going on here at Consensus, and it's very open to every protocol, so people aren't necessarily forced down one path to be just ETH-centric or just Bitcoiners, but rather it's a open conference where everybody from every facet of the Web3 space can congregate together. I guess is that a more broader trend that you've noticed as the years have progressed, that the sense of like tribalism is starting to dissipate, or just interested to hear your thoughts.
Well, I would say that there's all of these projects, the bigger projects all have their own conferences. And so that is what they're providing. There's lots of Ethereum conferences. I was just at a conference this week that was amazing. That was put on by Lisa Nagert who lives here, who's like one of the top Bitcoin devs. She was working for Lightning, but she's kind of like she also does a base. It's called Base 58. She does a class for Bitcoin devs. But there were some incredible speakers there. Andrew Polstra was there, and Christian Decker, like major Bitcoin devs were at this conference. But it's just Bitcoin, and then Avalanche, Stellar, these all L1s, they all have their own conferences, and they're big. They have their community goes there, and they have a lot of alpha for their community or announcements, and there's a couple other probably big tent conferences out there, I guess, like and I have not been to some of these, but like Token 49 and Token 2049 and Blockworks. I was at their permissionless conference, was here in Austin last year. It was really good. But it's definitely not. There was no Bitcoin at that conference, So it's but I mean, some Bitcoiners might not like mixing with with other stuff.
Fair enough.
And so yeah, I mean that's kind of our decision that's kind of our brand is the Big Tent.
Love it. And just before I continue on, just a shout out to the 2,000 plus folks that are watching us live here today. Real troopers joining us on a Friday morning, learning about consensus. I guess as we're approaching the end of the stream here, just want to get into the side events. So we know, as we all know, these conferences, you come for the talks, but you really stay for the side events here. Is there any particular side events that stand out to you or that you enjoy that you would want other folks to kind of experience as well?
I am not quite sure how to answer this question. I have not done a super deep dive on all the side events. I mean, there's obviously the official consensus side events.
Yeah.
And those are fun. But it's sort of like, at least a lot of it's serendipity. This
Right.
person invites you to go over here and you follow them, or you're invited to one thing and it's VIP and nobody's there, so you leave and go to a different one. It's like where everybody is. And I've done that drill a few past couple of years here in Austin. I mean, I live here in Austin. Austin's super fun place. There's so many great bars and restaurants where they hold all these side events and good barbecue everywhere. I think that's probably the problem, is just overeating and
too much. Yeah, there's too much.
Not sleeping. But go ahead.
I was going to say, one thing that kind of sticks out to me that's kind of non-tech related is this karate combat. Perhaps maybe you want to touch a bit on that. I think that one is quite interesting.
I have, so I think there are going to be some real fights from actual pro fighters at this thing. And I don't know how it's set up or where in like the venue. I'm not, I don't know that where it's happening, but I mean, the thing that everybody's talking about is David Hoffman from Bankless is apparently going to be like stepping into the ring with Nick Carter of Castle Island Ventures.
Wow.
And I don't know if either of them, I mean, I think they're both training for this very, but I think that is probably going to be somewhat entertaining.
Yeah, somewhat. Very, very interesting. Yes. We actually tried to get a fight going at ETH Denver this year between a couple of our DevDAO members, but I think it kind of fell apart due to insurance and whatnot. But this is promising. This is promising to see it coming back kind of at this scale at consensus.
Well, let's just say I hope my overlords at CoinDesk have some pretty good waivers that they're going to get everybody to sign.
Oh, I'm sure. And I guess coming towards the close of our show, how can people register for the conference, and what types of different passes are available to them?
Let's see. There's the $299 dev pass. I mean, number one, you can probably just I don't know exactly what the website is, but you can just if you just Google CoinDesk Consensus 2024, that'll take you right to the website. And you can buy tickets there. There is a dev pass for $299. And I think you said, Narb, at the beginning with the commercial, that the first 30 developers to register using DevDAO code will get 20% off. And I think that's the main thing.
Excellent. Well, unfortunately, that brings us to time here. But thank you very much, Brad. I really appreciate you coming on, taking time out of your day to give us the rundown of all of the exciting things and speakers and your past experiences around the Consensus Conference. Really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. And thank you again so much.
Thank you for the opportunity, Narb. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And just before everybody jumps off the stream here, I want to share the QR code for you to scan for claiming your NFT for being an attendee here on DevNTell today. So what you want to do is scan this QR code, fill out the form, and you'll be airdropped a NFT, an attendee NFT on the base network just for watching DevNTell live today. So you'll have an hour and a half from now to be able to fill that out. And you should expect the NFT to land in your wallet within a handful of days. But with that, I just want to wish everybody a very happy Friday, a happy weekend. Hopefully this talk has inspired you to grab your tickets or for Consensus. And you got that 20% discount with promo code DEVDAO. And we'll catch you back here next week for another episode of DevNTell. All right, have a good one.